Well, I want to welcome to the program a really interesting guy. I'm sure you've heard his name, Kash Patel. He was the chief of staff over at the Pentagon at the end of the Trump administration, but has got a incredible resume. Worked for Devin Nunes, was instrumental in debunking a lot of the false Russia bullshit that we've had to deal with for the last 4 years. Kash, welcome, man.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to the conversation. First time on the show.
Yeah. Welcome to the program. Although you've been everywhere, I've been following you here the last couple of weeks. You were in Nevada campaigning for my man Laxalt. You've been everywhere.
Yeah. I basically live in the air now, and thanks to my fabulous publicist, I basically just go nonstop.
Well, that's good. Here's a good place to start. Because obviously you were not a household name when you were working in Congress, and nobody is. But at what point at the beginning of the investigations into the Trump campaign and Russia, how quickly did you know that this was complete horseshit?
Look, before all that, I was a terrorism prosecutor, so I dealt with FISAs and putting together complex prosecutions, and I did some time at JSOC in the intel community doing targeting operations. So
got it.
Kind of familiar with that background. And then when I got to the Hill and Devin was like, hey, take a look at this stuff. And I was like, well, it's pretty easy, Devin. I don't know if it's accurate or not accurate, but just look at the basics. One, follow the money, who paid for this thing. And then two, start looking at the credibility of the witnesses. And they basically started to fall apart instantly. And then the hard part was getting that information out to the public. That was
it turns out that you did not have a compliant media in that regard.
Not even did we have not compliant media. We had the worst deputy attorney general in U.S. history in Rod Rosenstein, who basically a Trump appointee who blocked the continuous dissemination of what should have been public information because of the corruption at the FBI. But like any typical bureaucrat who's been in for 20 plus years, he just wanted to bury the cover up and protect the agency from shame, even though they had earned it. And they didn't even do it on his watch.
And to rewind the tape on that, while he was doing that, you were getting the opposite out of Schiff, right? The selective leaking of just totally outrageous and turns out completely false intel.
Well, look, Watermelon Head had a lot of problems, but us coming up with a new nickname for him every week wasn't one of them. I mean, this guy, nobody had ever heard of this guy until we made him, famous by allowing him to spew lies. Well, we didn't allow him. He had a willing and able media allowing him to spew lies because he knew we would never leak classified intel. They did.
Yeah.
And the media was like, wow, Adam Schiff has found Trump-Russia collusion. He's going to be the savior of the free world. And, this guy is like the biggest joke in congressional history. I don't think he's done anything in his tenure that's worthy of American service. And if you look at him, it's kind of like watching a toothpick hold up a Fabergé egg as a head. And it's just it's comedic because you can't really take him seriously. And then he has those those what do you call those? When we were in arts and crafts, we stick those googly eyes on things we drew in.
Kash, the way to our hearts here on Ruthless because you've intermingled a critique of what he was doing with some observations about his just sort of being, and that's pretty much what we do here.
I know the way to everybody's heart, except all the women I'm dating.
Yeah, I love it.
So I'm curious, Kash. Could you point to one moment in this process where you felt like the tide finally turned? What was that inflection point? Because you had Schiff out there every single day saying, I've got proof of collusion. I can't show it to you, but I've seen it, yada, yada, yada. What is the point where you feel like the tide really turned?
So we called the whole operation Objective Medusa because I thought it fitting to be can't just cut one of the snakes off. You got to cut the whole head off. And me and my partner in crime, who has requested to remain nameless through this day, we're doing a lot of digging, doing a lot of research, got a tip, we're trying to follow the money, got a banking tip lead, Fusion GPS banks with this certain bank, and it looks like they're shoveling money to this guy in England. But as you guys know, banking records, no bank's going to turn that stuff over, and it was going to be an uphill battle. So I toured like the Balkans with Devin Nunes. He does this big intel trip once a summer when he was chair. We went to like 12 countries and, did the actual work of the House Intel Committee.
Yeah.
And we had this tradition every night where he would call it a final. So we'd have dinner and then we'd go somewhere and have like a final drink.
I love that so much, a final.
Every night we're sitting there and I'm like, Devin, I need a flipping subpoena. And he's like, what are you talking about, man? Congress doesn't do subpoenas. And I'm like, well, if I can't get this bank records, I'm telling you right now, Hillary couldn't pay for this. And he goes, you're out of your mind. So we did this for like 10 nights in a row. And we were in like Slovenia, Melania's home. We were over there doing it there. And we ended up in northern Italy. And we were slamming Negronis at our last night. And I was like, Devin, I need a subpoena. Like, you got to give it to me. And if I'm wrong, I'll quit.
Right.
He goes, we haven't issued a subpoena in 22 years. And I said, well, we're going to issue 17. So we went back. He gave me the subpoena, even though Paul Ryan didn't want to give it to us. And Fusion GPS took us to federal court. And I go, we got him. We just won.
Oh, my gosh.
And then it took a couple months to get it out. But I knew right then we had won.
Oh, incredible. I mean, the trajectory of all of that. Meanwhile, you're going from an incredibly accomplished attorney, someone's on staff doing very serious intel work, to all of a sudden the left is trying to like character meme you. I mean, that experience must have been nuts.
Great. It was awesome. I was called Adam Schiff's staff first outed me into the media by calling me a genocidal dictator, which I thought was, that was pretty ironic since my father actually fled a genocidal dictator to come to America. Yeah, so I thought that was hilarious. I told my dad that. He was, of course, laughing.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up. I'm like, I'm Torquemada? I was like, are you guys serious? But whatever. I was like, that's when Devin and I came to to like the terminology. Like, if they're crushing us personally with fake epithets, we're over the target.
Yeah.
And we just never stopped. And neither did they with their name calling and their nonsense. So I took it all and I turned it into a defamation offensive machine and fightwithcash.com. Now I'm suing everybody and I'm letting everybody else sue the fake news media and I'm paying for it.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute because I noticed this is fightwithcash.com.
Yeah.
So tell us about that project.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a lifelong hockey player. I'm from Queens and, you can call me a lot of things and it's really not going to matter to me. But if you straight up lie about me and my family name, we're going to have problems. So I was like, Devin and I were both getting crushed and we were like, let's sue them. It had never been done before, really. So we took on the fake news media separately to clear our names. And when I left the administration, people were like, well, I've been defamed across America. I've been deplatformed by, all the social media morons. So I said, all right, I started a charity. It's an offensive legal trust, and basically I go around the country raising money. And you can submit your summary for free on Fight with Cash, and if there's a legal cause of action, I mean, I don't do it, smart lawyers do it, but if there's one to do it, I'll pay the check, and you'll have your day in court.
That's an amazing service. That is an incredible deal, and so necessary. I mean, we've seen, particularly in the last few years, just a proliferation of not only fake news, but as you said, personally lying about people, their motives,
and the purveyors of that fake news not being suspended or being forced out. In fact, the opposite, being promoted.
Yeah, and selling books.
Yeah. And you guys know this, the only way to shut those morons down is a silver bullet to their financial bottom line. So I've got $150 million worth of lawsuits going on myself, and I plan on bringing more than that. I've got half a dozen in the pipeline for Americans across the country that we're about to file, and we're just getting going. So anyone out there listening, check out the website. If you can donate. If you want some awesome merch, go over there. We've got the best merch on the market, and all of it goes right back into the trust. No one gets paid like an income. The lawyers get paid to file the cases, and that's about it.
That's just a great service. That's at fightwithcash.com. Everybody should go check that out. So I want to ask, now that you've seen the inside, you and Devin are responsible for what we know now. Where do you think the Durham piece of this investigation is going, and where do you think that what's the timeline on that, you think?
Yeah, so Devin and I opened up for the boss at CPAC, and this was the heart of our conversation to the American people, or at least the people that were there. We've always been high on Durham. And we know it's taken long. And I try to remind people, look, I spent like 3-4 years sometimes working on terrorism cases, prosecutions before I got to the accident indictment. This guy's working on the largest criminal enterprise in U.S. history. I mean, it drowns Watergate. And he's laid the foundation for a big conspiracy. He's issued 3 massive indictments. He's laid out the people involved, all the people from the Clinton campaign to their lawyers, to Fusion GPS and Bruce Simpson and Nellie Orr and Fiona Hill and Jake Sullivan and all these other people that thought they could subvert democracy because they had the social right to do that because they hated Trump.
Right.
And he's really laid it out there. And it's not something that this guy brings if you're just going to be like, oh, I'm going to charge a couple of these guys for lying and then I'm going to go away. I mean, it's a ton of effort if that's all you're going to do. And I just don't think he's going to stop there. He knows about the FISA court abuse. He knows the FBI was in on it. Everyone knows Hillary paid for it. Now we got to find out if Jake Sullivan was in on it and Fiona Hill and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Of course, we know they were in on it. We got to find out who he's going to hold accountable because that's what the American public demands. And I truly believe that he will go as high as Andy McCabe, the deputy director of the FBI, who basically orchestrated this entire thing for Comey.
Wow. I mean, that would blow doors off. I mean, that would be great. Oh man, would that be unbelievable? Look, we're all sort of waiting with bated breath. It's interesting to get your take on that because for those of us who've just been, knowing what we read, it goes in fits and starts, right? And they all seem to have massive implications, but like it's tough to tie it all together.
Yeah, and I think it's coming this summer. Like I still tell people, we're not there yet, but we're inching our way there with all these pleadings that the mainstream media doesn't want to cover, that Durham's rolling out quietly. Man, there's some pretty good stuff in all those things.
Oh, man, that's incredible. You were down at CPAC, you mentioned. How was it?
It was nuts. I was expecting it to be pretty good, but it was packed. And the people were actually like super involved, completely in the weeds, on the know about everything from national security, foreign policy, the economy, Durham, what have you. So it was really cool to engage with. I think there was 18,000 people there.
That's wild.
And
it's what happens when you have an event somewhere that people want to go.
Yeah, the free state of Florida.
That's right. That's right.
God. That was awesome.
So I got a somewhat serious question because I have some trepidation about. We all have trepidation about our intel agencies and everything moving forward. And, given your background in prosecuting terrorism cases, I mean, obviously you've interacted with the intel community for a large portion of your career. How much of this experience has forever damaged your view of their ability to do their jobs?
I don't think they are forever damaged. I think they need to be fixed. Because I know when it used to work, and I used to work in it, and I know when I was deputy director of national intelligence for Trump, we had fixed it to the chagrin of all the clowns that were trying to throw President Trump out of office unlawfully. Yeah. So if you've got the right bench, which we do, we just didn't put him in the last go-around. And I think President Trump and the folks saw that afterwards, and you can't really knock them for it. They're coming from private industry, and they're like, these career government guys, they're here to serve. They're not going to screw us over.
Yeah.
And sadly, a lot of them did. So you just got to have the bench, and we're building the book now. You got to win the midterms. You got to get congressional investigations going again, like we did with Russiagate. Look into Hunter Biden. Look into why China's so corrupt with the Bidens, the Ukraine debacle, Afghanistan, everything. You got to hold people accountable. And then you got to win in 2024 so big that none of this voter fraud stuff matters, and that you just put everyone you want in across the board.
So that's what's, I mean, transitions will become more important now, right? For this purpose. Because you've got, we figured it out the hard way.
Details, without getting into my conversations with the boss, who I see and talk to regularly, we're building the book now. He hasn't announced, but I'm getting ready. And if I'm getting ready, that means a lot of other people are getting ready. And we got to see what those people do for the next 3 years so they earn a spot in the administration. I mean, that's how it works in the political space. You can't just be airmailed in like the last time and then do whatever you want, even though it doesn't respect the president's priorities and policy agenda. So I think we get it right this time, and I think we're starting early enough where we can.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear, because I think for those of us who, previously had high regard for our intel agents and obviously the FBI, this has just been a crippling blow to your confidence in their ability to get things done. But I think you're right. I mean, you obviously eliminate the bad actors, the like forever establishment guys like Brennan.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I mean, Jesus, you want to talk about the worst human beings on earth. These are the guys. Right.
Well, I think honestly, this is my own personal, policy proposal, is that the same ban that we have on politicians being lobbyists, a lobbying ban for a couple of years. I think if you're at a certain level in an intel agency, that you have to have a waiting period before you go on national TV every night and lie to the American people. Like what? Like how is that we allow that in our society? That's crazy.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point. I think it's allowed because the clown show that is the mainstream media doesn't know how to do actual reporting. Their journalistic integrity is gone, and all they care about are headlines that counter whatever Trump's successes were. And I tell people, hey, they told us elections have consequences. Yeah, they do. Look at the last 13 months. You guys put him in charge. I mean, I don't even want to get into the last night's State of the Union because I'll start throwing, nunchucks. But I mean, look at Afghanistan, catastrophe. You basically started World War III. Inflation is screwing every American. Oh, and let's not forget the southern border.
Right.
And the opioid crisis killing more Americans this year than has ever been before. I mean, that's 13 months of your, elections have results. So we'll remember that going forward.
Totally. And in the future, Kash, if you're having trouble, as I know most of us were getting through last night's State of the Union going forward, feel free to hang out with us. We just drank as much bourbon as we could possibly drink.
I didn't know that was an option. I would have done that.
And then we filmed it.
Oh man! See, you guys did it right. We should do like a live stream next time.
That's what I'm saying.
I was just like about to break everything in my apartment.
Yeah, no, we had a different approach. It leaves you with better mental health at the end of the day. I can assure you.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, you guys, that's a good idea. You guys did it right.
Yeah, finals all around.
Yeah.
All right, I got 3 questions for you, Kash. These are the big ones everybody pays attention to. The first one is, if you could plan your last meal on Earth, what would it be?
Oh, chicken parmesan and chicken tikka masala.
There you go.
Nice.
Very, very quick answer. I like that.
Yeah.
You've given that some thought. I suppose a man in your line of work needs to think about that sort of thing.
Yeah, since I'm going to have a lot of last meals. So I spend time thinking about that one.
So if you never got into the line of work that you were in, I know you're doing a bunch of different stuff now, but you never were in the intelligence community, you never were a prosecutor, you basically had to choose an entirely different path to go in your life, and you can blue sky this. What would it be?
Anything that made me rich, because being poor sucks. It totally flipping sucks.
I respect the honesty.
I was like, I don't care. That's what I went to law school for, and I haven't been a lawyer in 6 years. I went to law school to be that guy in that show on USA, the Harvey, whatever that guy's name is. Yeah. Instead, I became a public defender, and just bankrupted myself for the next 2 decades. So I'm trying to make up for it now. Yeah, that was, if I could do it all over again, man. Whoever paid me the most money.
I love that. All right. So this, I'm really interested. The third question, I'm interested in how this affects you. We always have this question about what goes to motivate you more. And the way we frame it is, you're either motivated by the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. Nobody likes to lose, obviously. But so the way we frame it is, the thrill of victory person is like the sunny optimist, are always charging up the hill. The agony of defeat person is like, anything bad that's ever happened to them in their lives, they wear it like a backpack, right? It's just like, they get over every success they've had in 2 seconds, but any defeat, like they wear it and they just vow to never have it happen again. So those are kind of like the 2 poles. Kash, where do you find yourself?
Man, I'm a lifelong hockey player. I still play, I still coach. And I learn more from my losses than my wins. And I think that's sort of translated over to the rest of my life. So every time I take a loss, especially like the one we did in 2020, you can sulk or you can give yourself 3 minutes and then get up and go. And I've been going nonstop since then with with President Trump and the midterms and MAGA PAC and all this stuff. And that's why I've been out with Black Salt. You'll see me in Alaska, Wyoming, Florida, New York, wherever. We're going full steam ahead, because if you think it's being done, it's not. That's the one thing I learned in government. If you have a good idea and you think government's doing it, they ain't. So either you go do it or find somebody to do it, or it ain't going to get done. So for right now, I'm going to keep going to do it. And I guess I'll take my rucksack with me and keep tossing 10-pound kilos in there.
I love it. And by the way, the fact that you have fightwithkash.com, where you're helping people fight back against defamation suits, I knew before you answered you're the ultimate agony of defeat guy.
Yeah, right. The settling scores.
It's the
best. Listen, Kash Patel, I can't thank you enough for coming on with us and spending some time. Stay in touch. Let us know how this is all going, and we'll have you back maybe for a live stream sometime.
Yeah, this has been great, guys. I really enjoyed it. Thrilled to be with you, and let us know when this comes out. And yeah, hit up Erica anytime, and we'll do this again soon.
Awesome. You're the man. See ya.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.